All right, guys. So, as I'm sure you guys are all aware by now, the news that has struck Barcelona today and the world of football, Lamine Yamal will be missing the remainder of the season. The 25-26 season for Lamine Yamal, it is over. After yesterday against Celta Vigo, he stepped up for a penalty, and right after he took that penalty, he fell to the ground, and obviously something was wrong. He started grabbing his left hamstring, and today it has been officially confirmed that it was an injury that will take him out for the rest of the season. As Barcelona have stated right here, the tests carried out have confirmed the first team player Lamine Yamal has an injury to the biceps femoris of his left leg. The player will follow a conservative treatment plan. Lamine Yamal will miss the remainder of the season and is expected to be available for the World Cup. Man, some very difficult news for sure. After seeing Lamine Yamal fall to the ground in the manner that he did, usually Lamine Yamal, after he scores a goal, he celebrates, in his own way, his own fashion. Either a little dance, a little aura moment. Lamine Yamal, he loves to celebrate, but when he obviously does the sub me out thing to the bench and falls to the ground, it's never good news, especially when he grabbed his left hamstring. And today has been officially confirmed. Even yesterday, one of the reporters actually said that Lamine Yamal's penalty kick was probably the last kick that we're going to see of Lamine Yamal this season, and it has been confirmed that that is the case. But yeah, man, this honestly sucks, not only as a Barcelona fan, but definitely as a football fan too, because the World Cup is just around the corner. This report right here is saying that he is expected to be available for the World Cup, which is obviously great news. The main positive that you can take away from this. But I'm also seeing some other things that maybe some cause for concern as well. I don't know. We'll see officially how long he'll be out for. Hopefully, he'll 100% be back for the World Cup, because the biggest spectacle of them all, you want the best players, and Lamine Yamal is clearly one of them, right? But let's quickly talk about, what does this mean for Barcelona, of course, and as a football fan too. What does this mean for the likes of Lamine Yamal? Let's start off with as a football fan. Lamine Yamal is obviously one of the best players, if not the best players in the world. He is a spectacle on the pitch. He is that player that has brought attention to FC Barcelona again, like back in the day, Lionel Messi days, where everyone would tune in to watch FC Barcelona play because of the likes of Lionel Messi, because you're guaranteed to see a show, a great show from one of the greatest players that we've all ever seen. And Lamine Yamal has had the same impact when it comes to Barcelona, and obviously the player that he is, where everyone just tunes in to watch Lamine Yamal because he's just that good of a player, man. He is a spectacle. Whenever you want something to happen, he's going to step up and just put in a performance where you would pay good money to watch the likes of Lamine Yamal play. So, as a football fan, unfortunately for the remainder of this La Liga season, for the next 6 games, he won't be available, which obviously sucks, especially considering Barcelona are in a title race where they're clear of Real Madrid by 9 points, which obviously is a clear advantage, but we've seen this Barcelona side without the likes of Lamine Yamal. They struggle, especially since Lamine Yamal, it's definitely been shown through last season, even this season, that we depend a lot on Lamine Yamal, right? But as a footballing fan, man, it genuinely sucks. I truly I hope, man, I pray that he'll be available for the World Cup, man, because Lamine Yamal playing his first World Cup at 18 years old for the Spanish national team, where they have a good chance of winning the World Cup, man, that would be incredible if he basically completes football almost at the age of 18, right? Especially at the national level, which is never easy for sure. So Lamine Yamal on the biggest stage of them all, you want to see him play because you just know he's going to be one of the best players in the tournament, if not could potentially be the best player of the tournament, because he's just that good, and obviously influential for the likes of Spain too, which is obviously, I would say, a concern for the Spanish national team and De La Fuente as well. Imagining a Spanish national team without the likes of Lamine Yamal, it's pretty hard to imagine, man. I don't know. They're losing a lot of firepower. They're losing a lot of creativity and just that clutch player. It's crazy to call an 18-year-old such a clutch player, but that's just what he is, man. He's just that good. Lamine Yamal, man, it's so unfortunate that he went out with this injury, bro, especially. Again, the World Cup is just around the corner, man. So hopefully these news of Lamine Yamal coming back for the World Cup, being ready for that, is true. There's been a lot said about Lamine Yamal. It's actually a little bit worse than what the initial reports have said, that there's a potential he might not play, that he might miss the first couple games. Obviously, because we think Spain are going to get as far as they can. I think minimum semis for sure. That's just how good Spain are for sure. But there's a lot of things being said, like this right here, for example, which is obviously cause for concern. Dr. Ripoll, expert in sports medicine, Lamine Yamal's injury has a 30% reoccurrence rate, so extreme caution is needed with recovery timelines. If the injury is in the muscle belly, the prognosis is more favorable. But if it is located where the muscle meets the tendon or in the tendon itself, it could be more serious, with at least 4 to 6 weeks out. Given the reoccurrence risk, it seems difficult for him to make the World Cup squad. Maximum caution is required. See, like when you read something like that, man, it just really it bums you out for sure because everyone wants to see Lamine Yamal play, not just Barcelona fans, man. You have a whole nation that wants and depends on Lamine Yamal as well, and anyone that's just a football fan understands the spectacle that Lamine Yamal is and the player that he is, and they want to see him play in this World Cup. You always want to see the best players play at the World Cup, no matter how much bias you have over certain players or anything. If they're the best, if they're one of the best players in the world, you want to see them play in the biggest stage in them all because that's where stars are made, where legends are made, right? So you want to see if they can ever get to that status, and we know Lamine Yamal has the capabilities of getting to that status, right? Of course, if he doesn't play this World Cup in 2026, then he'll have to wait another 4 years. Which, of course, Lamine Yamal is still very young; he still has some World Cups left into him. But knowing the mentality of Lamine Yamal and obviously always wanting to play, he's definitely going to try his hardest to try and come back for the World Cup and be 100% for that. I don't know if he'll come back 100%, which is obviously another thing to be concerned about because there's been things said, like even with the likes of Oliver Kahn, if that's even true, if the quote is true, where they say, don't risk it, don't force it for a World Cup. You're still very young. You'll have to think about the long term, comparing it to the likes of Titi, who, risked it for the short term of becoming world champion, but in the end, it didn't help him out long term, where he just suffered through injuries and basically became washed, right? We don't want that with the likes of Lamine Yamal. We want this caliber of player to last us for over a decade at least, because that's how long he definitely has in the game for sure. Like in a decade, he'll be 28 years old, so he still has way more years after that for sure. So, that's definitely something for Lamine Yamal to really think about. It's something that he really has to put some thought in because, like again, we understand that he wants to play this World Cup, but if there's a risk that it could definitely hurt you in the long run, then it's something that you probably don't want to do because a World Cup. It's every 4 years. Everyone wants to play it, right? For the likes of someone like Titi, for what he did, I wouldn't blame him because becoming a world champion, it's a once in a lifetime opportunity. Especially getting called up for the national team, it's never easy, right? You have to be the best of the best to represent your nation. Lamine Yamal is always going to represent his nation because he's just that good, right? But he's still very young. He has to understand he's still very young. He still has a good 3 World Cups left in him, and if he stays at that level, of course. And listen, if it's something very serious where he won't be 100%. That's probably something he should think about and make the decision as much as the Spanish national team, De La Fuente, the medical staff, of deciding not to risk the likes of Lamine Yamal. Obviously, when it comes to football, it's also a business. So you want to see the best players. You want the best players to play as well. So, yeah, listen, he just has to be around the right people, influence him in the right way. We've seen Lamine Yamal, he tends to do these party things, posting, whatever, but you also see that he's influenced by some good people, his family. He gives a lot of credit to them, to the ways that he's been raised and everything. So, listen, we'll see what happens in a couple of months when the World Cup comes around. But, man, hopefully he does play. I would love to see Lamine Yamal play as much as anyone else. But, man, it's a difficult situation, man. Getting injured at this point where you're so close to the World Cup, man, it's so ass, man. It sucks so much, man. So unfortunate for Lamine Yamal, but it's football, man. It's football. Like, going back to the injury itself, a lot of things have been said as Barcelona fans. A lot of people have been blaming the likes of Hansi Flick. A lot of people, been saying it's probably just a very unlucky situation because Lamine Yamal wasn't limping or like looking off it before he took the penalty. Like he stepped up and looked confident. Obviously, took it with confidence. And of course, before the penalty, he was still playing great. He won us the penalty. He did great, but taking a penalty and just falling right after, that's kind of weird, right? It's kind of weird. And I haven't seen anything as of late before the game where Lamine Yamal was feeling any type of tension or, feeling some kind of discomfort. It could have just been a very unlucky situation. But some people are also looking at it as it happened because he gets overused, he gets overplayed, which we'll also talk about in a bit. But it's kind of weird how that just happened, man. I'm hoping it's just a matter of unlucky, man. It just happened out of nowhere. It's unlucky rather than it's because we overuse them. But that is definitely something to really think about because Lamine Yamal has been one of the most consistent and used players throughout this whole season. That's why Hansi Flick has been getting a lot of criticism. And I could definitely understand that because there's definitely been games where Hansi Flick has overused Lamine Yamal, where he's played more minutes than he's really had to. As a recent, everyone's saying about Espanyol playing the whole 90 minutes. What's the point of that? Especially when you have such a big Champions League match coming up next, right? So that's definitely understandable. Referring back to the Espanyol game, because it had the same thing happened with Pedri, I think the main reason Hansi Flick really kept them that long is because we were 1-0 up and we still had there was still plenty of time for Espanyol to attack us and probably get a goal back, right? We didn't score till late in the game till we get to the second and third and everything. So that's probably why, because he didn't want to take any risk, considering we still very focused in La Liga as much as we were at that point with the Champions League, trying to make that remontada with everything that. So that's probably why I see it. But at the same time, it's understandable to criticize Hansi Flick for not taking him out. Rooney coming in, really, how much worse can he really do? And obviously help out, just give him the role of helping out the team, defend, and do what they needed to do to win that game and see it through, right? So that's definitely criticism we can definitely give Hansi Flick, where he's underused the likes of Rooney Bargi, who we brought in to be the replacement or obviously the substitute, obviously, for Lamine Yamal. You want to see more of such a talented winger that we've seen in cases where he can come into the game and influence the game for sure. So that's definitely the main criticism with Hansi Flick in the minutes that he's used Lamine Yamal and obviously the likes of his substitute with Rooney Bargi. But we also have to look at the other reasons as to why Lamine Yamal has practically played so much throughout this season. It's because of the massive amount of injuries that we've suffered throughout this season and the level that certain people have dropped. Certain people in the squad have dropped this season. When you're seeing the likes of Lewa, Ferran, Olmo, Rashford not stepping up, where they're not doing it, where they're very inconsistent, where they're not helping the team, where they negatively affect the team more than they positively affect it, then you only have the likes of Lamine Yamal to really rely on, right? Because Hansi Flick worked wonders with what he had available to him with the likes of Lewa, Rafinha, getting the best out of a lot of these players last season. But this season, we've seen a massive drop in level. I don't know if it's a case of the training regimen. I don't know what has changed. I don't think really much has changed when it comes to Hansi Flick and the way he coaches them. I just think that Hansi Flick got the best out of them after one season. And then this season, they're tired out. They can't do it. They're obviously, when it comes to the likes of Lewa, he's already aging. Ferran Torres, we've been seeing throughout his whole Barcelona career how inconsistent he is. And the likes of Olmo, we see inconsistency. We see Fermin, he does well, and then sometimes so it's a matter of where a lot of the players around him have dropped the level, and we also have to think about the injuries with Rafinha. So many reoccurring injuries throughout this season. And Rafinha last season was so available for us. He was such an important player for us because of his availability. Now, this season, he's been getting injured a lot, especially in the big games. So we had to rely on the likes of Lamine Yamal, because without Lamine Yamal, imagine we had no Rafinha and Lamine Yamal through a majority of the season, we wouldn't be talking about winning La Liga. We wouldn't probably get to the quarterfinals of the Champions League. We wouldn't have won the Supercopa España, Copa del Rey. Like, a lot of these competitions, we would have been out of it very early on without these players. Because when we look at our quality and our depth, it's not the best. It's not the best when you compare it to the best teams in the world, right? So Hansi Flick has had a lot of difficulties to work with. That's probably why we had to overuse Lamine Yamal, as some people are saying. Which, again, you can criticize it for sure, 100%. I'm not going to be against that whatsoever. But we also have to look at the other side of the story, where the quality has dropped, and Lamine Yamal has always been that shining player who saves us. We have to over-rely on Lamine Yamal, definitely, 100%. Even though this game on the weekend against Celta Vigo, without the likes of Lamine Yamal having his moment of magic, where were the goals coming from? We were struggling in that game. Celta Vigo did really well against us, right? So Lamine Yamal has been such a clutch player throughout this whole season, even at the beginning of the season where he had some discomfort, wasn't playing the best, and then we see progressively how he plays, and he's gotten better over this second half of the season. He's gone back to the Lamine Yamal of old, right? And this season he's done incredible things. With Lamine Yamal, as much as the season's over, we can definitely classify it as a great season for the numbers that he's put up, the great performance that he's had. So Lamine Yamal has had an outstanding season, but he's been one of the most consistent players through this Barcelona squad, through this team, where we had to over rely on him, and boom. Yeah, that's just how the case is. Our depth and our drop in level with certain individuals, affects us. So it's understandable that Hansi Flick is going to play Lamine Yamal practically every game. And we all know Lamine Yamal is also a player that wants to play every single game. So, listen, yes, criticize Hansi Flick 100%. I'll criticize him as well. But you also have to look at the other side of the story of what this team has been throughout this season, right? It's been a mess throughout this season, especially going forward with our press, with our attack, with our finishing. So much mess throughout the season. And hey, Hansi Flick has had to work wonders yet again. That's just how the case is, right? But yeah, the over reliance of Lamine Yamal is definitely a concern because even when we got knocked out of the Champions League, how he stepped up. People are talking about, hey, if Lamine doesn't get if Barcelona don't get the backing to help the likes of Lamine Yamal, he's going to leave us in a couple of years, right? And it's understandable to think that because Lamine Yamal is such a great player. He's a winner. He wants to win it all. And if he's doing all the work and he's carrying, like the likes of Lionel Messi did for us when he was at the club, and eventually, they might think, okay, it's time for me to go. Obviously, I don't see that with the likes of Lamine because he's all in out Barcelona. He's been there his whole life and he loves the club. But I wouldn't put past him if something like that were to happen. But going over now the games that we will be missing the likes of Lamine Yamal with 6 games left to be played. Listen, some tough games for sure. This weekend we have Getafe away, and man, we know how defensive they play. They're going to give us a difficult time. We have not gone to the ground and won since 2021, if I'm not mistaken, or 2019. It's been a while. It has definitely been a while since we've last gone away to the ground and beat them. Right here, 2019 was the last time we've gone away to the ground and gotten a good result, besides a tie, right? So that's already going to be such a difficult game without the likes of Lamine Yamal, who can create that moment of magic where he can win us a game and influence the game massively for us. Osasuna, El Clásico, another tough game, and without the likes of Lamine. Hopefully we'll get Rafinha back. I've seen news that we're possibly going to get Rafinha back maybe in a couple weeks, next week or the next week after that. Hopefully that's the case. But even with him, we got to be cautious with him. He's the World Cup's right around the corner, so you want to see Rafinha play in the World Cup for sure too. Deportivo Alaves away, Barcelona versus Real Betis, another difficult match, and then the last game of the season will be against Valencia away. So, listen, like 1, 2, 3, 4 games away out of the 6 left to be played, and then 2 are at home. So, listen, very difficult fixtures, man. At home, we've been doing incredible. We've been doing great in the league. But now, without the likes of Lamine Yamal, now a majority of these games are being away. It's going to be very difficult, boys. It's going to be very difficult without the likes of Lamine Yamal. Now that leads to the question of who has to step up. Who has to step up for Barcelona? Obviously, one of the main guys who a lot of us are thinking are the likes of Rooney Bargi, right? Rooney Bargi, this season, he's gotten some minutes here and there. As of recent, we've seen that Hansi Flick has not trusted the guy as much to really come in and cause an impact for Barcelona. When he came in against Atletico, I thought was really disrespectful on Hansi Flick's end to really bring in a kid that you barely been trusting, and then you wanted to come in this kind of game, right? It's kind of weird, the man management that Hansi Flick has had over the likes of Rooney Bargi, who you would expect to play more, especially considering the talent that he is, right? And it's not to say that Rooney Bargi, every time he's come in, he's been incredible either. There's been some games where he looks very underwhelming, where he's not really doing much. Like this game against Celta Vigo, I'm not just judging it off that, but against Celta Vigo, he was tripping over himself. He wasn't having the greatest performance. The really major thing he really did was that shot that he took. But besides that, not much, right? But I'm not just judging it off of that. There's been other games where he doesn't step up. But there's also been games where he has stepped up, like against Athletic Club in the Supercopa de España. What a performance he had! He was incredible, right? So Rooney Bargi, he's a player on and off where he's always going to be a substitute with Lamine Yamal playing, right? He's never going to start over Lamine Yamal. But now that he's out, he's our only option on the right, especially since we don't have Rafinha yet. So when Rafinha comes back, we can talk about it. But right now, Rooney's our only player that we can play on the right-hand side. Unless Hansi Flick, which I would find crazy, Hansi Flick decides, nope, I'm not playing you. I'm still not playing you. I'll put Fedon on the right rather than you. I don't. That'd be insane to me. At that point, I think there's just a broken relationship between Flick and the player, right? But Rooney Bargi is definitely someone we have to be looking at for the remainder of the season. Listen, when he's playing at his best, he can definitely cause an impact. He likes doing those little skills. He's great at one-on-ones. He takes on his player with confidence, and that's always what you want to see from your winger. Take on, do something, not just standing still like Rashford, standing still or not really doing much and just passing it back and forth. No, if you want to see someone take on their player, Rooney Bargi is definitely that guy. He can create some problems. He can create some magic. So, listen, Rooney, this is your opportunity, man. This is your opportunity. I see news that he's open to leaving on loan. But hey, this is your opportunity to step up and show that you need to stay at this club and be a player to compete with the likes of Lamine Yamal. Obviously, he's starting over him is probably never going to happen, but a player where Hansi Flick can trust you more than he's had this season, right? Maybe next season you'll be a more pivotal role for sure for the likes of Hansi Flick, as we all want you to be for sure. So all these games right here, man, especially against Getafe, that's going to be the first real test. Whew, we're gonna see what Rooney's really about, man. We're gonna see what he's really about, man. Does he really have it in him to play at such a high level at the biggest club? Like, listen, he's still young. It's not like he's already in his prime or anything. He's still young, so we can't expect him to be an incredible player right off the bat, especially with the lack of minutes he's had this season. But listen, man, this is his opportunity. Now we need him to step up. As much as on the player on the left hand side with the likes of Marcus Rashford, I'm expecting Marcus Rashford to get some minutes at this point. I don't even know. I don't even know because this weekend he couldn't even start against Celta Vigo. Gavi started on the left. I'm like, what's happening here? Rashford comes in, didn't do much, right? So Rashford is just one of those players where we're at the point where it's looking like he won't stay at Barcelona. And these are the games where we need him to step up and now show potentially that we can keep him, that would want to keep him. I think one of the reasons that Hansi Flick hasn't really trusted him, especially like in the big games, like against Atletico Madrid, at least I expected him to start that game, but he didn't start. I think one of the main reasons for that is because his work off the ball, man. He doesn't run. He doesn't press. He doesn't fight for the team. When he takes a shot, that's the thing. One of the things that annoys me so much. When he takes a shot, he slumps over. He's like, oh, what happened? Blah, blah, blah. You got to be focused. Rafinha takes a shot. He misses. He messes up. All right, he gets back into it. He starts pressing again. He starts running for us again. We need that kind of work rate, and Rashford shows that he's not doing that for us. So that's probably the main reasons why Hansi Flick's not starting him and not wanting him to play, because we all know how important the players up top are for a system of Hansi Flick. So I want to say Rashford, you need to step up too, but I don't know at this point if he's even going to play. That's the main concern. I don't even know if he's going to play, man. But listen, a lot of the other players have to step up. Everyone now from Barcelona has to step up without one of our main players, with the likes of Rafinha, one of our captains, our clutch players, and now our most important player, especially up top, Lamine Yamal. These players understand the gravity of what it means of not having those kind of players. So now they have to step up massively, man. It's going to be very difficult. It might be even hard to watch without these players like Lamine and Rafinha playing for us. It's going to probably be such a hard to watch these next coming weeks without them. But hey, we're 9 points clear of Real Madrid. We practically have to win, what would we call it? These 3 games right here. If we win these 3 games, we got the league secured. Because if we win these 3 games, especially against Madrid, then we'll be 12 points ahead of what's it called, of Real Madrid. So we just have to win these next 3 games, and we got the league in the bag, because at this point, only Real Madrid can only get 9 points, right? And it's also, considering Real Madrid are perfect from here on out too. They've also suffered some injuries with the likes of Arda Güler and Militao, who also will be missing the rest of the season as well. So listen, if we pull it off and win these 3 games, that would be incredible. And I think we also have to give massive respect to the likes of Hansi Flick too. There's been a lot of criticism with Hansi Flick that he can't do it. He over relies on Lamine Yamal. Hey, this is your opportunity now to show that you can get the best out of these players. To get them right mentally and be ready and prepared for what the upcoming challenges that are coming up for the remainder of the season without the likes of our best players. So hey, listen, it's gonna be a tough situation here from Barcelona, but again, we're 9 points clear in the table. We have a clear advantage over Real Madrid. Again, we also have to see if Real Madrid can be perfect as well. Like I don't think I mentioned it, but Real Madrid at this point, the only thing they got is trying to go for this league title. Obviously, it massively depends on us if we fumble it or not, but that's practically all they got. Their only objective from here to the remainder of the season is to win every single game, especially trying to win the Clásico, to see if they can reduce and hopefully and just hope and they can just pray that Barcelona drops some points here and there, right? So, listen, that's practically what we got for the remainder of the season. Without Lamine and Rafinha, and obviously, what they bring for the team is going to be very difficult. But I still believe if we don't get the job done, if we bottle this, hey man, we never deserved it. Then we just never deserved it, bro. Because you're playing for FC Barcelona, you're representing one of the biggest teams in the world. You're 9 points clear for a reason, because you've been the best team in the league. Now get the job done, finish it off. That's all you have to do at this point. The players that are playing right now, they just have to take it up another level, man. That's really all I can say, man. But in Getafe, it's gonna be these 2 games are gonna be difficult. These guys are fighting for European spots right now, like Celta Vigo, Real Sociedad. They're on their ass. So these 2 games are gonna be very difficult. But listen, we can get over the line. We have to give massive respects to the players and up to Hansi Flick too. But yeah, boys, pretty long video. Man, just so unfortunate, bro. Lamine Yamal will be missing him, but hey, man. What can we do? This is an unfortunate situation. Again, hopefully he'll come back fully ready for the World Cup. I want to see him play so bad in the World Cup. And yeah, hopefully all goes well with his injury and it's nothing major to be concerned about from now in the long term for sure. So yeah, guys, let me know in the comments what you guys thought about Lamine Yamal's injury, how depressed you are right now because no more Lamine. Oh my god, no more Lamine ball for the rest. Oh my days, bro. That sucks ass, man. That sucks so much. But what can we do? What can we do? Let me know in the comments what you guys think about this injury, how you feel for Barcelona. Do you think they're going to bottle it, or do you think they can get the job done even without the likes of Lamine Yamal? Make sure to like, subscribe, favorite, hit the notification bell for every time we upload. Guys, we're close to 1,000 subscribers. Thank you guys so much for all the support that you guys have been showing me. And of course, once we hit 1,000 subscribers, I will also be doing a giveaway. So again, to show my appreciation for all you lovely people who have been supporting this channel. Much love. Take care. God bless. Peace.